Right before we jump into this video, if you'd like me to send you a free guide to capturing motion in low light situations, just look for this orange box over on phronosphoto.com. Put your name, email address in it, hit send it. I'm gonna send you that guide for free. Jared Polin, phronosphoto.com, and this is a review of Canon's 28-70 2.8 IS lens. Now, I kind of consider this to be Canon's third-party option that they're making for themselves. Now, I say that because as of now, you cannot have third-party full-frame autofocus lenses for the Canon RF mount. They might come in the future, but right now, Canon has that locked down. But they are starting to give us their own options of more affordable, that I would kind of call, say, third-party lenses, but without the caveats that some of those third-party lenses bring. I should also mention that Canon also offers a lens that will pair very well with this. That is a 16-28 2.8 that we also have a review of. These are very nice. Will they come out with a 70-200 or a 70-180 2.8 that's more affordable? I don't know as of now, but what did I go out and photograph? Well, I took it to a Savannah Bananas baseball game at Citizens Bank Ballpark to get a look at how wide 28 is and how 70 looks. I also took it out to a men's basketball game, a college basketball game, to sit under the hoop to see how it worked there. How's the autofocus? Is it good? Well, we'll find out here. But I also photographed a father with his two kids in Philadelphia and at lunch, because that's the kind of thing you do with a 28-70. It's one of those catch-all type of lenses that you kind of build your kit around. Now, in terms of what cameras I used a Canon R1 because I wanted to see if there were limitations for shooting speed, but I also used the Canon R8 because that is the type of camera that I think this lens is meant for. Of course, it's meant for any of the RF mount bodies, but really on the more affordable side, when you see the price of this, you'll be like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But we have a lot to get to in this video, but let's start with the outside of the lens and how it feels. I don't even know that I'm holding a lens right now. Steven, am I even holding anything? Yeah. I'm not used to things this light in my hands. Well, this is a pretty light lens. It comes in at 1.1 pounds or 495 grams. So it is not very heavy. Now, this is what they call an external zooming lens because as you zoom it, the lens extends. You can see right here, it goes from there to there. But if you pull back all the way like this past a click, this is how it seats. So this is how it is when you're not using it. If you put it on the camera like this, it will tell you to turn the zoom ring to use it because you can't shoot until you turn the zoom ring and it gets past this click. Listen. Gets past there, then you can use it. I thought that that would be a problem when shooting, that I would go from 70 and in a quick fit of action that I'm trying to capture, turn it, and then go past that, which means I can't shoot it. Did that happen? The answer is yes. That happened a few times when I was shooting, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I still don't like the fact that it does that, but that is how they probably save money by allowing it to do something like that. So it wasn't exactly a deal breaker. In terms of filter thread, we have a 67mm lens cap, which means a 67mm filter thread. That is the same that you will find on the 16-28 as well. You have a custom control ring right here, which I personally do not set to anything. I generally leave it blank. This is your zoom ring, as you already saw. You just zoom like that. The throw is really short. This is 28. This is 70, that's it, 28-70. It's a very small, I'm not even twisting very far, just if you twist a little too far, put a little more pressure on it, it ends up locking the lens back like this. You just need to unlock it and zoom, but this is super quick from 28-70. Now on the side, we have two switches. We have our autofocus to manual, and very important here is you have stabilization. You do have IS built into this lens, which is fantastic for something that's kind of a third-party option. It's a 2.8 with IS built in that's giving you 5.5 stops of image stabilization in a body like the R8, which doesn't have stabilization built in. It doesn't have IBIS. Or when you're using a camera that has in-body image stabilization, you are getting 7.5 stops, not the full 8 or 8.5 that you get with some of, say, the L lenses that Canon makes. Now, one thing this lens doesn't come with is a lens hood, and I don't know why. I mean, I get it, they want to bring the price down as much as they can, but a lens hood? You don't include Canon has done this with a lot of their lower end quote-unquote lenses that they put out. They're more affordable, they leave a lens hood out. So if you want to buy a lens hood, it's $35, it's the EW-73D, then you can get a lens hood. Is it a deal breaker? The answer is no. You'll be fine without the lens hood. I just like to use lens hoods for everything. Now let's jump into the images and take a look at what 28 and 70 gives you, the range, as well as how the image quality looks. So let's take you out to the ballpark, to Citizens Bank Ballpark, at the end of last year when the Savannah Bananas came to town, took this lens upstairs and was like, what's 28 look like? This is your 28. Of course, 24 will be a little wider, but also I like to shoot up in this area with a 10 or 11 millimeter. That goes ultra wide, but then you're into prices that are well beyond this basic third-party lens. You could see I can get a little bit more than foul pole to foul pole at 28. And I know people are gonna say, but is 28 to 70 a good range? Isn't 24 to 70 better? My response to that is I've been using a 28 to 70 f2 RF since I switched over to Canon, and that's the reason I switched over. I'm able to make that work. Would I prefer a 24 to 70 f2? Sure, that would be much larger, but I get a lot of solid images with the range of 28 to 70, so 28 to 70 is perfectly usable. This is your 28, and this is your 70. You're not gonna really shoot the baseball game with this from up there, but it's just giving you an idea of what 28 to 70 gives you. Let me jump in here real quick because I wanna show you our Lightroom presets from Pack 4 in action on this photo right here, starting with Blues Clues, followed by Brooklyn, C41, Copper Tone, High C, Kaleidoscope, Saltwater Taffy, Thick, and Wet Hot American Summer. But my all-time favorite from Pack 1 with one click of the button is Skittles. It makes it go boom. So look, if you want to speed up your RAW workflow, give yourself a great starting point, whether you're shooting RAW or JPEG, doing editing on the go on your mobile phone, or doing it back here, and you're tired of other people's presets sucking, well, I can tell you ours do not suck, and this is a great way to support our channel. That's why we created 14 all-new custom Lightroom presets that you can check out right now at froknowsphoto.com/Pack 4. While you're over there, you can play with the sliders to see the befores and the afters, and if you decide to pick them up right now, they are currently on sale. Or you can get the Grand Slam bundle that includes Pack 1, which has Skittles, Pack 2, 3, and 4, and you will save even more. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, let's go out to a basketball game, a college basketball game, because lenses that work there are 28 to 70s, and honestly, the 16 to 28, this is great from the review of this lens shooting basketball, because when you're under the hoop, you can get some really nice images. But just using the 28 to 70 underneath the basket, the lower you can get, the better it's gonna be. I'm not allowed to sit on the floor in this specific venue with St. Joe's. You have to actually sit on the little riser, which is a pain in the butt just because it doesn't get you down as low. But in terms of autofocus, this is using STM motors, not the USM motors that the L lenses are using. Was that an issue? That wasn't an issue on the R8, and it wasn't an issue on the R1, which is not actually over here. The R1 obviously was fantastic with this, but the R8 was just as fast. I didn't feel like I was missing anything because I didn't miss autofocus because it was too slow. Whereas sometimes with third-party lenses, you might find that they work slower on a first-party body. And there might be some limitations when it comes to shooting. There were no limitations. I could shoot 40 frames a second with the R1 if I wanted, which means I could shoot 40 frames a second with the electronic shutter of the R8 and still get shots with that. Whereas third-party lenses are generally limited to, say, 15 frames a second. You can take full advantage when you're using the native lens. Tracking subjects, not a problem at all. Zooming, not a problem at all. Image quality, I think looks fantastic. R1 looks fantastic, as it should, even in the crappy light situations of basketball. And when we get to photographing the kids with their dad, you're gonna see some really nice colors pop off the R8. This basketball shot's at 28 millimeters, and then let's show you what 70 gives you under the basket. Very normal range for shooting basketball. 24 to 70, 16 to 35s. I use a 100 to 300 with basketball, or a 70 to 200. It is great for when players are coming down the lane. It's just coming off the side, focus is nice, the image quality looks very nice. I'm happy with the results. It doesn't feel like I'm using something super cheap. By the way, real quick, this is a 24 to 70 2.8. You can see the difference in size and also the difference in price, because this is a $2,200 lens and this is much less. Just showing you, yeah. Now, speaking of L lenses, Canon made a bold claim, and I want to read it here. This is me paraphrasing, though. It has extremely high image quality that's equal to that of an L series lens. Now, they wouldn't be making that claim if they didn't get approval to make that claim. They have to be able to prove it if they're going to claim it. I'm not seeing a loss of quality using this 28 to 70. Generally speaking, you would think that with the less expensive lens, you might, but I was happy with what I was getting. Now, that's not saying you're not going to get the same look, or you're going to get the same look throughout, but if you can't tell the difference, are you using a less expensive lens versus a more... With any lens, it really doesn't matter. If you get the picture, you get the picture. Of course, there's going to be subtle differences, but to say that it's equal to an L lens is a pretty bold claim. And let's move on to some of the images from outside, which are in better lighting than the ones where I was shooting the basketball. This is my buddy Isaac. We're working on the bowling show together, and these are his kids. They came down to the city to go take a walk and get some lunch. And I was like, you know what? Let's get you some photos with the 28 to 70 on the R8. So we just took a walk. Autofocus, fantastic. Finds the faces exactly where I need them to be. Takes the pictures where I want. I use the mechanical shutter. Let's zoom in here. Nice and sharp. I like the tones that I got out of this, and very happy with the results. This one is at 28 millimeters. Now, I had his daughter go up near this tree, 60 millimeters. We zoom in. Nice and sharp, nice colors. Of course, I put one of our presets on it to help make it pop and look great. And how's the background look? Fine. The background looks fine to me. It's a 2.8. But then we went in to eat. We sat at a table. I kind of put them near the window with my back to the window so that the nice light would hit them and I could try and get some nice shots. Now check this out. Isaac with his kid, 28 millimeters. But let's bang in to 70. Boom. Look at those eyes pop. And look how sharp they are. They are sharp, they are colorful. The focus found everything fast and accurately. So yeah, this image quality is looking great. Look at the background. This is what you get with 2.8. If you were to shoot this with f4, it's not gonna give you the same look. And that is one of the things we'll talk about at the end of this. Do you maybe want a 24 to 105 f4? That's one of the things we need to discuss, but I'm very happy with the colors and the tones that popped out of this. The focus speed, the image quality are all very nice. And on the walk home, they stopped to get ice cream. I don't like ice cream. I like cupcakes. If you like cupcakes, leave a comment down below with what your favorite cupcake is. If you like ice cream, tell me what your favorite ice cream is. It better not be rum raisin. I don't even know what rump raisin is. Let me jump in here real quick and say, are you tired of your friends and family looking at your images and the only feedback you get is thumbs up or fire emoji? Yeah, that's not very helpful to help you become a better photographer. That's why I offer 2 different mentorship options over on froknosphoto.com/mentorship. One is a recorded 15-minute rapid-fire critique of your work, and the other is a 45-minute live Zoom call with me where we look at up to 100 of your images and help you right then and there live. So again, both of those options are over at froknosphoto.com/mentorship. Now, let's get back to the video. Last photo, boom. Beautiful color, beautiful tones, nice angle, 28 millimeters. Did I cut his little footsie off at the bottom? Just by a little bit. If I had 24, I wouldn't have done it. So that's something that you need to be aware of when you're looking through the viewfinder. So how much is this 28 to 70 IS? It's on sale currently at $999, which is $100 off. When it's not on sale, it is $1,100. So for $1,000, This is not bad at all, because like I said earlier, the 24 to 70 2.8 is $2,200. A 28 to 70 f2, well, that's gonna set you back close to $3,000, but there is another option for people to consider that's a little heavier, but it is an L lens. This is the 24 to 105 f4. It's gonna be heavier to carry around, but it is that L lens, and this one comes in at $1,300. You need to decide for yourself, do you want something that's slightly wider and gives you more reach at 105, but is an f4? You have to weigh which one makes more sense for you. And it's also $300 more, but it's one of the options that I wanted to put up here so you could make that decision for yourself. I'm sticking with my 28 to 70 f2, but this did a fantastic job. Two more things: sniff test, wind tunnel test. How dare you? How dare you smell like rump raisin? I don't even know what rump raisin smells like. The wind tunnel test? Complete failure. There goes the money truck. Bye, money truck. Beep, beep, goodbye. So look, this is a 28 to 70 2.8. If you've always wanted a 2.8 on one of your RF mount cameras, $1,000. It's third-party pricing, but in a first-party lens where you can see the image quality is great, the focusing speed is great, and everything about it I liked. Actually, that's not true. I don't like that thing, right? I don't like when it interrupts my shooting because it seeds into the lens like this. It retracts. But that's one of the things that they did. This isn't the top of the line thing, but it is great quality. Now, if there were third-party lenses allowed on the RF mount, you could look at something like a 24 to 70 2.8 DG-DN version 2. That comes in at $1,200. Of course, these aren't available here, but they're available on Sony E-mount. But there is also a Tamron 28 to 75. That is a $900 lens. So yes, that's 5 more millimeters on the long end, but it's only $100 less than this. So you would think that if Tamron or Sigma had lenses here, they'd be very similar in price to this right here. Would I still like to see Canon unlock it and allow third-party lenses because Sigma has so many great unique lenses? The answer to that is yes. But right now, this is your option. This is a very good option for $1,000. And that's it, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you very much for watching. Jared, PolinPhotoPhoto.com. See ya.